Good morning. Happy June. Can you believe it's June? I don't know who you are, but I'm looking out and the weather is grim. Anyway, what can you do? Disconnect from all attachment. Summer weather should mean sunshine. And I'm sure, like all of you guys, it's just been so nice to have that sunny weather. And it's just so disappointing when you'll get your family get together and the midges and the rain literally stopped play. Yesterday morning, my van wouldn't start, and my son was out trying to help me get it organised, and the midges were just unreal. He was just covered in big red bites by the time we came in. So yeah, anyway, no blaming, shaming and complaining here. You know how it goes. So I wanted to jump on and talk about Heal Together and all the incredible things that we've got health solution wise for you and for your loved ones. I think there's never been a more important time to learn how to look after your own body, because I think unless you're living under a rock, you'll be realising that a lot of people aren't well, and drugs and surgery are not going to get you better. It really is a situation for understanding the body as an ecosystem, and how we are going to work together to improve. Because the thing is that the solutions are not going to come from the government or that's just not the way it works. We, the people, are going to have to actually stand up and take responsibility for this thing we call the body. And I think, what they say, my dad used to always quote the law of unintended consequences. And what happens when you have a free, in inverted commas, healthcare system, that you think, oh, well, I can just do what I want and I rock up and get fixed for free. And that obviously is a phenomenally important, I believe, health should never make people wealthy. Health and wealth need to be separated, but that's not what we have now. It's a huge industry, and then people start to take advantage of it, not even consciously, but unconsciously, just thinking, well, they can fix me. What are they? They're paid to fix me. And when you start to understand the body as an ecosystem, and that it's affected by what you think, feel, do, believe, perceive, and achieve, then it's just a totally different story about whose responsibility the body is. Now, clearly, I've been inundated with people wanting to look at the microbiome, because we absolutely have to get the belly, the digestive system happy, or it's quite difficult for us to be happy. And that involves you and me making changes to our diet, understanding why the body's exhibiting symptoms like it's exhibiting, and what we can do about it. And that's, of course, the Heal Scotland mission is educate, inspire, support. But with that comes a level of responsibility and a level of change that you need to be willing to participate in, because regardless of how good a healer is, if they cannot inspire you to change, and I really believe that comes through education and understanding, seeing the body as this ecosystem, like your garden, what's going on in that digestive system? Does it need some urgent attention? And yes, if you're feeling unwell, if you're exhausted and you have muscle and bone pain and stiffness and aches and inflammation and bloating, then 100% your microbiome needs attention. And very often, depending on, every single human body is slightly different. Although we are kind of all the same and we're suffering from all the same things, which is we're poisoned. We're not. The food chain's been destroyed almost beyond recognition. And thanks to Steve and Jane at the Good Food Project, they're actually giving you a place to go to get food that is not poisoned by big tech. The glyphosates, the pesticides that kill pests, but obviously destroy our microbiome as well, because there's pests in there as well. So understanding that the water that we're having now has got stuff in it, the food, the clothing, plastics, our bedding, our shoes, everything is actually keeping us away from great health and vitality, because inadvertently we've become completely disconnected from what keeps us alive, which is the 5 elements, and obviously our food, and perhaps and most importantly our community. So I'm going to be doing a talk at our fete, which is the Sunday the 14th of June, from 11 till 3, a family day out. We're going to be just a bit of education, light-hearted, neurodiversity, loving yourself wildly, kinesiology, understanding that your body is so intelligent and that we've just never been taught how to speak the body's language. And that is really, really important, because giving your power away and hoping that somebody else is going to magically be able to fix you is just really, it's kind of it's an unconscious level of not understanding what the body is. So any great healers, what you want them to teach you what to do, because the i.e. the digestive system, needs a constant state of maintenance. Just like your garden does. You can get the gardener in. I always say to people, get the gardener in, get the grass cut, get the weeding done, get all the hedges cut back, make sure everything's in a beautiful symbiotic relationship, and then you go away for 2 months on holiday, and the garden just grows again. And that's what happens inside us. We can create a stagnancy inside there because there's no live food going in. And even with the diet, a lot of it now for me is this. We've been terrified of our own bodies. Our system literally tests and terrifies people. You've got this. And it's like, well, no, you've not got anything. It's just that there's a lack of flow, stagnation, and a dire need to understand the intelligence within you. And that is exciting news. But obviously, there's always the downside. And the downside is that you're responsible. And that can be challenging, especially when you're exhausted. And that's why I believe we really do need a residential space as well, where people can come and be nursed and held until they fully get it. Because me telling you you're magnificent and intelligent and sacred and your body knows everything, it's just words, if you don't fully understand that, how to access that information and how to access change. And the reality is some people are so exhausted right now and so down and so low and so feeling so alone, because chronic fatigue, and I mean chronic fatigue, is just an absolute lack of energy. And what I say to my clients is, if you're wanting to get to London, do you have enough petrol? Do you have enough money? Do you have enough of that energy to get where you want to go? Or are you only going to get a little distance? The body requires energy to heal. And that's why the biotherapies are such an exciting addition to my health plans with the people that come to see me. And I think if you're a healer or a leader, a teacher, listening to this and you live in our area or around Aldo and Stirling or around Kathleen over in Dunfermline and Marissa in Edinburgh, and there's probably more places, let me know where they are because I want to promote all of them. Then Oxygenating Paisley is another place. You should really be helping your clients, I think, to access the biotherapies, because that can just give them enough energy, enough petrol to get where they want to go. And, Jonathan said to me one of the first times I met him, and he did this, he said, sometimes it just gives the immune system enough energy to get over the hill to the healing place. So given that we're all different and we're all sick for different reasons, within that, we're all the same in terms of we need energy. We need to be outside. We need to be eating nutrient-dense food. And we need to believe in the possibility of healing. So all of that said, we're all in the same boat when it comes to that. And let's talk about the community. Because it was Aldo came over to visit on Thursday night. And he was saying the same thing that I've witnessed, is that people actually start crying with a relief that they can talk to somebody and that they feel listened to and not gaslit about, well, you look fine, your tests are all clear. And Dr. Tina Pierce said, a lot of the tests right now they're just not fit for purpose for what this kind of, since the 2020 infections and vaccines, we're just in completely new territory as to what people are experiencing now. And very often it doesn't show up in tests because the microbiome, it can be very subtle in terms of what it's doing. Just a little bit too warm, a little bit too much fungus in there. And, you know, some people can basically charge their way through that fatigue and others just can't because of all the other straws that are on the camel's back. So what we're looking to do is take the straws off the camel's back, and also patience and understanding. I've had a cold over the last sort of week or 10 days. And I'm like, well, right, I know that means the body's got the energy. It's trying to clear stuff out. And so I'm really aware that these healing crises are hugely powerful in terms of an upgrade. If you're very, very unwell, you probably wouldn't get that cold because the body doesn't have enough energy to even create mucus, to create a cough, to try and get things out the body. So it's a very different way to look at the body. And we are going to be educating you in all of this stuff so that you can really trust. Because here's the other thing that happens when you're detoxing. You might feel worse before you feel better. The body might start exhibiting old symptoms. That's completely normal. And if we judge that intelligent healing process, it can set us back because the mind comes in. We start to get worried, fear. We don't trust in the body. So yeah, it's a non-linear situation, and it can be very confusing. So what I want to know from you guys, obviously this is the very last day for our Scotland's Wild Medicine Festival at Quarriers for the phenomenal giveaway price, £77 for over 3 days, from 2 o'clock on the Friday till 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock on the Sunday. An amazing deal, especially if you're local and you don't need to think about accommodation. It's an absolute banquet of wild medicine and things that you can do, well, primarily to get more faith in yourself. Because what I do is, I heard Jonathan saying, Lilia gives people confidence. The thing is, we've lost trust in our bodies. And once you start, there's no mystery going on. It's just that you don't understand. And if you've been going back and forward to the doctor for years, and this is what I hear every day, and you're not getting anywhere, and you're going online and you're researching, and there's all that information, and all I do is help you to understand what's happening, and then the steps to take to regain balance in the microbiome. That's it. It's not a mystery. And then it comes down to you telling me what you're doing, what you can do, because sticking to a diet can be challenging, as we all know if we've tried it. Fasting can be a challenge, and it comes down to what are we prepared to do to help this body back into balance. That's what it comes down to. What can we do? And this is where the community comes in. And what we're going to be creating, and what we are creating at the Hub, is the place for you to come if you feel alone and scared and overwhelmed and you don't know what to do. You just come up and we help you. And we're going to put people together, people that are doing the superhuman protocol. What's your challenges? How are you feeling? What have you been taking? Doesn't really matter to me what the name of your disease is. It's all exactly the same. Not enough of one thing and too much of another. Usually a lack of energy in terms of coming from your food and the 5 elements, and too much toxicity because our government and big pharma are not got a clue about levels of toxicity. You even actually get debates on, well, detoxing's a lot of rubbish, and you're just like, oh my God. It is unbelievable, the lack of understanding. And if you just look at the body as an electrical energy system, and you're like, well, actually, I went to sleep last night, which is I plugged my phone, my cellular phone, my body into recharge mode, and I woke up and I hadn't recharged. What is going on there? And can you get, if your digestive system is knackered and in a dysbiotic state with fungus and viruses and prions and worms and all the other stuff that's going on in there that I'm seeing on a daily basis, you can't digest your food properly. Therefore, you can't extract the energy from the food. And that's if the food is the best possible quality. Again, go to the Good Food Project. It's an absolute no-brainer. Morning, Karen. So I really want to break down the mystery around your illness and also your confidence in your body. Because see what happens when you have no hope? You're hopeless. And the people that say to me, they just didn't want to be here anymore because they didn't understand, right? And it's like we're suffering because we've got a lack of information, and we're getting very often the completely wrong information. And any healthcare worker that fills you with fear is doing you a disservice. Now, that doesn't mean to say that some bodies need a little bit of emergency attention, because they do. Because what we do, and I include myself in this, we ignore the symptoms and we ignore the signs until we get battered right down. Either we can't get out the house, or we get a horrible diagnosis and prognosis, and that's the wake-up call. Oh my God, what's happening now? So I want to help you demystify this. So this is why I've been saying, as you know, if you followed me for a while, we need a place, we need a place. Well, now we've got a place. And I know it's not handy for everyone, but we're addressing all of that as well. Trust me, I am determined that we can turn our health picture around with the right information. But there still needs to be a willingness as well, and people need to get involved. This is an inside job for all of us, understanding that what you're putting in your mouth is driving disease or driving healing. It's as simple as that. What are you listening to? Have you believed that you're poor you? It's all over. There's nothing you can do. That language drives me nuts, because here's what we can do. We can try all the things that literally hundreds of thousands of people are doing now, waking up and breaking free from that system that says that you're powerless over your health. Nothing could be further from the truth. And a big part of this is education. And again, I was talking to Kathleen and Marissa and Aldo, who are really very similar vision to ours at the Health Hub, is people need educated in the biotherapies. What does oxygen do for you? What does pulsed electromagnetic frequencies do for you? And what does red light, near, medium and far infrared do? And what does being part of a community who actually believes that you can heal, not just thinks maybe, but knows it's possible? How does that work? And how do you, when you are scared and you're like, what's the body doing now? Because you've not got a clue, right? So that immediately, if you've got a cancer diagnosis or an incurable diagnosis, that immediately puts you into terror. And that terror state, of course, pumps the adrenaline and the cortisol into the blood and just makes you feel a million times worse. And then the thinking comes down and the stories get bigger and more scary. It's all a process. That's that. When you come to me, I'll put you to breathe with Sandy. I'll do tell you about the big six. I'll recommend a way of eating that can help you heal and douse your inflammation. I'll give you things to do. And if you can afford the time and the money, I'll put you on the biotherapies as well to get that cellular charge. And again, let's address the financial issue here and the time. Because if you want to do the superhuman, you're looking for an extra 3 hours a week or more. I did it 3 times a week, so that's like 4.5 hours a week. So it's really important to know that with the memberships, you're looking at £1,500 over 3 months, because that's the minimum amount of time that you need to really give the body a chance. And, you know, most people I know could get a credit card out and pay that. But if you can't, we have to look at other ways that you can access this. And this is where we have health in your home, health in your community, and health in your business. And talk to me if you feel that you can help get that into your community, your home, etc. in any way. We need to get this out to the other people all around the country, because people are suffering because they do not have access to this information. They don't know how to breathe. They don't know how to let go. They don't know how to hope, because everybody over here is saying it's all over. There's no hope. There's nothing we can do. That's what I like to hear, because then you can come to us and try other things. And we can't guarantee that everybody will heal. But what we can guarantee is you're going to have a lot more fun trying. It's going to be a lot lighter, a lot more loving and kind and gentle. And you know what? Scotland's wild medicine #1 can be listening to people, how they're feeling, so that they actually feel valued. And then creating that group of people that are willing to take action. And that action can be something very simple. Tai Chi, Qigong, some gentle breath work, some meditation, some guided visualization. It doesn't need to be rocket science, and this is the big problem. Somebody away in a laboratory with 20 PhDs can fix our problems. No, they can't. They can't. And this is what's interesting for me now, because the information that a lot of people are getting is not coming from a university or a course. It's coming through the heart. We're being guided and we're being led, and a lot of people don't like that because you can't get it in a certificate. You just have to tune into that other person and feel what they need, because you're a human and you can do that, and you've got a heart and you've got hands, and very often just opening your heart and putting your hands in somebody is going to make them feel so much better. Yeah, imagine how simple that is. Hold somebody's hand, look into somebody's eyes, listen to them. So that's the wild medicine right there. So anyway, that Heal Together, let's talk about what we're doing. So we've got the FET on June the 14th, because we want people to know that the health hub's there. We want them to have seen it, and for lots of reasons, so that they can come and help their healing there, so that if you're a teacher, a leader, or anybody in the holistic world, you can use our facilities. Our venues are very reasonable, and I know how annoying and how difficult it is to find a good venue that's not going to break the bank. So we've got venues on offer, and we want to run like day retreats and education as well. So let me know, what do you need? What would you like to learn? I'm thinking about doing a day on parasites and microbiome, a day on letting go, a day on the nervous system, calming the vagus nerve, because what I see is when people come in, that's why I like to see people. Oh, I can do it on the phone as well. I can see the state of their nervous system. And I can tell by what people are saying where they are in the emotional guidance system, so I can assist them to get into that place of faith again, where you have to let go and raise your own vibrations so that you can see the much bigger picture, and you're not being led and predicted by somebody else. The stories that we hear about the language that is used when people are in a very vulnerable state is actually cruel, and I would say it's actually criminal in some cases. So be very, very mindful about who you're allowing to talk to you about your body, and just stop somebody if they start to go down an egotistical, dark route, because that's what happens. You just have to say, no, sorry, I don't. This language is making me scared. This language is taking away all hope, and you have to then go, I would like to talk to somebody else. Because if you've read It's Not About the Bike, all the healing stories, radical remissions, all of the people, you have to find the right person for you. And that person, we should be holding hands, the kind of more holistic natural healers with allopathic, to find the best way forward for you. Because the reality is, and most doctors that I know will admit this now, they don't really know. People defy the odds every day. Is that about the human spirit? Is that about their diet? Is that about doing yoga? Probably not. There's something that we don't understand, a higher power, a higher thing that's going on. And when you can connect to faith, faith heals. I know the irony of it. When you've been terrified about your own body, you're going to die. Very difficult to find faith. And if you've never had faith, never had a deep belief in something greater than yourself, how do you get faith? That's the billion-dollar question. So there's so many things that you can do. So what I need from you is I need you to help me spread the word about the Heal Together Academy. It's on the Heal Scotland website. It's under Heal Together. We've got Primitive Winds, who are a French couple. I'm going live with them tomorrow morning. No, not tomorrow morning. I'm going live with them today at 10 o'clock to talk about their offering. They're on a tour of Europe right now, and they're coming to the Health Hub, and they're doing a ceremony, and then they're doing music, a sound bath, a sound concert. So tune in and come along if you can. That's on. It's the Saturday before the FET, so that'll be amazing. Brilliant to have people from different countries and cultures coming along to share their wisdom and their knowledge. And then, of course, we've got the Wild Medicine Festival. We're looking at Jo Royal coming. She's going to do effortless meditation, the 6th of September, sorry. Nicola Harkins, Body Connect. She's coming to do the lymph ninja stuff. So she'll be doing a 2-day advanced course for practitioners, I think. keep an eye on the calendar, subscribe for free, and you'll see all this great stuff coming up. Who else have we got? And she's going to do a day just for the curious around the fascia and the lymph. There's nobody talks about it in a more fascinating way. Let me assure you, she's brilliant. Aga was there on Friday night doing her sound bath. Yeah, so it's starting to heat up now. We're definitely starting to get the events coming in. And we want you to tell us, what do you want to learn? What do you want to learn about? What teachings would you like? What would you like to us to offer so that you can advance your understanding and your knowledge? So please let me know in the comments, and I will do my very best to make sure that happens for you. And so you can help me by sharing the videos, share the link, subscribe to the calendar, and just tag like-minded others. You know, the whole understanding of sound. If you're in our community, you would have seen the sound healing from the roses that I posted this morning. You know, the vibrational sound, it's a bit like things are invisible to the naked eye and things are invisible to the naked ear. But when we start to tune in differently, we can be away from the noise and into the healing sounds and how the sounds affect the physical body. And it's very exciting times for healing, actually, because, you know, we're soon not going to have to worry about being sick because we'll know exactly what to do and how to heal, because we'll have the community and we'll have the resources and we'll have the understanding, and we'll be able to break free from the terror system that tells you that you're powerless, because you're the very, very opposite from that. And it always surprises me. Why is it so easy to believe you're powerless and so difficult to believe you're powerful? You're so full of power. And how do you do that? And I know that a big part of that is being around people that truly know that too. We affect and infect each other with our beliefs, our coherence or incoherence, and it's the power of the collective. Joe Dispenza has categorically shown that when you get together with other like-minded people, not to bring people down and make them, I'm better than you and this, that, and blah, 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 all that, to genuinely get together with others and have the best intention for each other, regardless of what they've done, regardless of their story and their past, blah, blah, blah. We can elevate each other up. That's an actual fact. It's quantum physics. We're interconnected. We're electrical beings, and we can bring each other up or we can bring each other down. What are you choosing to do? Because it becomes a choice. And you're always hearing this, they did this and they did that, and you shouldn't be doing this, and you shouldn't. It's, there's so much of that quack, 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 what you should, the should, shouldn't, shouldn'ts. And really, we need to move forward. We're going to have to let go of the past completely and stop judging each other and just focus in on that high coherence, beautiful, unconditional, loving state. That's how we get well, because we don't get well by blaming, shaming, and complaining others. We get sicker by doing that. When we actually start to realize, let's rise above all the noise. Let's expand the cells. Let's open the heart into that 528 gate. Then we can 100% elevate not just our own healing, but everyone else around us. And that's what we want to do, without judgment, without shame, regardless of what you've done in the past or no done in the past. We're all human. We've all got good and bad within us. Morning, Kenny. How you doing, darling? So yeah, it's now up to us. What are we going to do? How are we going to move this forward? Heal Scotland, a mission to change our health trajectory around. Are you making it better or worse? Are you going to get involved, or are you hoping that I'm going to fix it all, or somebody else? It doesn't really matter who you're giving your power away to. What we have to do is wake up to the power within us, and that's an electromagnetic energy that is so powerful that you need to do it. It's an inside job, as they say. We need to start, open our hearts, forget about the past, stop blaming, shaming, and complaining others, elevate your own energy, and then take that coherence into your community. Because Joe's work shows you categorically, when we're in coherence, enough of us are in coherence, we help others to heal. And that is science. So if you've not watched The Source yet, I highly recommend that you do. So you don't need to believe me. You can feel it in your heart and your soul. And you need to get over all the all the other stuff. Focusing on yourself. Hang around with like-minded others that make you laugh, that make you feel loved, and that you can trust, because it's an interesting time, isn't it? About who you can trust and who you can't trust, and you can't allow yourself to become cynical, because that would be really easy to do. You absolutely have to find your tribe and the people that are willing to rise above all the noise and move forward, take the steps. So yeah, Heal Together at the Academy. Tell me what you want to hear. We can, as a yeah, absolutely. Oh, I'm getting itchy nose. Don't know what that means. So that's me. Heal Together is going to be the Heal Together hub, where people can come together in communities and help each other heal. I want also to get other coherent healers together, so that we can have coherence healing nights. We don't need to go to Mexico to see Joe Dispenza. We can, but we don't need to. We can do it here. We can do anything once we put our mind to it, but we need to get off our arses, and we need to stop judging and blaming and shaming and complaining, and we need to get on with the job in hand. So let's heal Scotland. Bye, guys. Happy June. Have a wonderful week. Chat soon. Ciao.